Okay, we're live.
Okay.
Awesome.
We're good. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. No, it's fine. We'll.
Okay.
We're just gonna send it to the. It's fine. But okay. Bye. 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 Okay. Bye.
Hi guys. We had to start a new live, so we are going to share this on our networks. We're going to say hello to everyone. So stay with us, and thank you for those of you who have been with us this whole time. So just give us one more second to turn everything on, get it all going. You have it? So yes, we are live. So say hello, come say hello. Hi, I'm typing. This is
Because I'm
not good. So hop over if you can.
Okay.
Oui, vas-y. Tu devrais voir que je suis en direct.
Voilà. Voici. YOUTU.BE 0 capital V F 9 underscore WNZ underscore 4 2 underscore.
I think so. Fuck.
HTTPS.
Så det var så shine. Så det var det.
Okay.
That we're live. Right? Okay, can you share on Facebook and everything?
Yeah, I'll do that now.
Okay. So we're just going to wait a couple more minutes to get everyone to switch over to this this link. Sorry about the technical difficulties. That's part of technology, I guess, and it's our first YouTube, so our first live stream. I can text it to you, actually.
0V. Non, laissez-le souffler. 0 V F 9 underscore and WZ underscore 4. Fuck, it doesn't work that.
I'm texting it to you now.
Oh, there you go. I got it.
You got it?
Okay.
Okay.
We should have people.
We're good. Hi.
We should have people
so when you
in
come
now.
on, just say hello, introduce yourself.
We are so sorry about this.
We do apologize. Yeah, we, hey, it happens, right? We roll with it. We do the best we can. So we're going to wait. What time is it? It's 7:19. We're going to wait one more minute. Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for joining us. We're sorry to have kept you waiting.
Yes, we apologize.
Gab is working hard at, hi, Kelly. Hi, Erin. Yes, finally working. So we do apologize. Notice that we're also getting some nice sunlight in here. So we do apologize for keeping you waiting. We're going to get started very shortly. Actually, I'll get started. Gab is with me as well, and we're in the condo. We're in our kitchen, And she's going to be busy just sharing the news that we have a new link and trying to get everybody to transfer over here. So in the meantime, I'm going to say hello. Please feel free to introduce yourself. I know you already did on the other page, but say hello in the comments, and you know, we'll get going. We're going to do our very best to keep this under 1 hour. I have my notes. I'm going to follow that. I tend to talk a lot, so I'm going to try and really limit this to an hour, be very effective. If you have questions, you can type them in the comment box, and Gab will be reading them out as we go. I'm going to ask you, though, because we're a little bit pressed for time and we started so late, keep your questions relevant to the topic that we're discussing. And if you have personal questions, then just keep them for the end. So as long as you can hang out with us till the end of the webinar, we'll save 10-15 minutes for more personalized questions. But in the meantime, if you have anything relevant to what we're speaking of, please type them in, and we'll do our best to answer them as we go. Okay, so I want to say hi to Lynn. Thank you. Yes, finally. Sorry about that. Melissa, hi. Greg, Cindy, it's nice to see you guys, and welcome to our discussion on meal planning. I guess what we'll do is I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Patricia. Some of you might have already seen me on some of the videos and the Instagram and Facebook accounts. I am a holistic nutritionist. I've been practicing for 9 years now. I've helped thousands of people lose weight by using whole foods. So no gimmicks, just eating real food. I've also had a personal chef business where I had chefs go into people's homes and prepare all of their meals and snacks for an entire week. So I have some good ideas for you and some good strategies that you could use to do the same thing in your own kitchen. And of course, Gab is here as well. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Gabriel. I've been, I've studied photography for a long time, and that's how I started with low fat, low carb. And I just I've been passionate about creation and just putting everything together for you guys. And yeah, I'm so passionate about this, and I'm so happy that now we have built a team, and that Patricia's here to really guide you into nutrition and health. So anyways, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah. So I know her name. I'm just tripping up on it now. So she's our visual director. She's created some amazing recipes. Pretty much most of the recipes that you see on the low fat, low carb website. I think we're adjusting because of the sunlight. I think most of the recipes that you see online are amazing creations that she's put together. And having me on the team now just helps the direction, keeping it low fat, low carb, and super healthy for you. We did want to talk before we get into meal planning, because we will be talking about grains. We will be talking about some dishes that may not be specifically low fat, low carb. And the reason is because we don't support any particular diet. So yes, we are low fat, low carb because we believe that that's the foundation of healthy living. So all of the diets that you may see and all of the different trends that have come out have started here at the low fat, low carb principles. And we're not a trend. So we really focus on eating whole foods, plant-based foods, and when you're eating a diet that's filled with nutritious, nutrient-dense vegetables, you're going to be eating low-fat, low-carb. So that's kind of where it starts for us. And then from there, we adjust and modify, just like you adjust and modify depending on what your certain needs are at different stages of your life. Okay, so let's get into it, shall we? Yeah. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
You guys have been waiting, so yeah.
So do you want to go through the main topics of the webinar or something?
Yeah, that's a very good idea. So I'm playing hide and go seek with you guys.
Come closer.
Yeah. Okay. So what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about why it's important to plan and how it's going to save you some time and money. We're going to talk about what kind of planner you are, and then how to get started. So if you've never actually done any meal planning, what are some of the things that you can do to get started right away? And then we're also going to talk about some of the things that you're going to need to be efficient in the kitchen. And and we'll give you some examples of what I like to call variable meals. So how to take one thing and then change it up just slightly so that the meal isn't the same every time you eat it, because that's going to be important to keep it exciting for you as you're planning your meals ahead. I see here they still keep it under an hour. We're going to do our best. We're going to do our very best. Okay, so I wanted to start by telling you a couple statistics. I don't know if you knew this, but consumers spend 40% more money on impulse purchases when they shop without a list. So I don't know if you've experienced that. I know I have. When I go to the grocery store and I'm in a rush and I don't know what I'm going to be making this week for meals, I tend to just buy, oh, I like this, I like this, I need some of this, I need more of that. And what happens is you end up spending more money, right, because you don't have a plan. The average American family throws out 25% of the food they purchase. So for a family of 4, that means throwing out about $2,200 per year. That's a lot. That is a lot of money. Yeah, that's $200 a month, roughly. So and again, I can totally relate to this, and maybe you can as well. You go to the store and you're impulse buying. You buy more than you need, and at the end of the week, you have to throw stuff away because either you didn't plan for it, or it's gone bad because you made other things or whatever. So when you're planning, you can save money, and you can also make sure that you're not throwing or wasting your money, really, not just wasting your food. Okay, so what are some of the other reasons why meal planning can add benefit to your life? You'll be a happier cook.
That's true.
Yes. So
why would you be happier?
Why would you be a happier cook? Because you're less stressed, right? I know when I come home and I don't know what to eat, maybe you've experienced this, you open the fridge and you're like, ugh. It's so frustrating to get started from zero. So odds are you'll be more excited, you'll have everything that you need to be prepared, and you'll just have less stress and more enjoyment as you get into making meals. And of course, habits take time. But an example is, I don't know if you guys have ever gone camping. When you go camping, and if you have gone camping, give me a shout out. But when you go camping, you don't have a choice but plan your meals, right? You're going away for 2 or 3 days. You only have limited space. And so you're pretty efficient in what you're going to eat and when you're going to eat it. And it just takes away so much stress because you already know, and you have more time for your family too in those instances.
That's true.
I've noticed that when I go camping, everything is pretty easy, and also the kids know what we're going to eat. They can help themselves. They can help with the meals. This is the same principles that we want to apply to our everyday life. Okay, what else? We have a healthier diet, right? Because when you're super hungry and you don't know what to eat and you're not prepared, you are going to also make impulse purchases, maybe by going through drive-through. If you've experienced that, have you experienced? We've all experienced it. So when you have certain goals and you have objectives that you want to achieve with your health, and that's not just weight loss, right? It's having energy. It's, if you're an athlete, it's making sure that your body is well fueled. You need to plan, and you need to stick to that diet. You'll have more acceptance. I like this one because I don't know if you guys know, but I have collectively, I have 3 kids and 3 step kids. So I have 6 little people running around my house. Yeah, very big. And as you can imagine, they don't all have the same taste,
That's
right?
correct.
I have one daughter that will eat absolutely anything that I make. She's always like, Mom, you're such a great cook. And then I have another daughter that eats nothing that I make.
So how do you handle this?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm accustomed to it now. I make meals that are very flexible so that everybody can kind of build their own meal. That's not the subject today, though. What I do also plan for is making sure that my kids know what they're going to eat, so that they, like anything, right? If you tell them in advance, they're very prepared for it, and they can come to accept what's going to be served. So that's one thing. I think more acceptance. They know that, you know what, maybe tonight it's not my favorite meal, but 2 days from now we're going to eat my favorite meal. And so I'm okay with making some compromises in between. More eating in, which again, we talked about drive-throughs. We don't want to go through the drive-through. We want to eat at home, not only because it's healthy, but because it's great family time, right? Some of the best connection. Yeah, it's quality time. And
you can even ask your kids to help you out. Right?
Yeah, you can ask your kids. I know that when you're a dual income family or you're a single mom, it's really challenging to get everything that you need to do into a day and spend quality time with your kids. So if you start including them into your planning and into cooking and prepping, you're doing both, right? You're staying healthy, you're teaching them amazing values and really great skills that they can use as an adult, and you're having nice quality time. Okay, and that ties into more family dinners. So at our house, we have every meal and snack together. So we have breakfast together at the table. We have our snacks together at the table. We have our lunch, well, we're all separate, right? School and work, so we have our lunch apart. But after school snacks together and dinner together. And let me tell you, we have great conversations, and it's invaluable.
It's bonding moments.
Yeah, that's the stuff that they remember. Okay, so for those of you who are here and you're like, okay, I'm here, but I still don't really get what meal prepping is. She still wants me to scooch over into the sunlight.
Yes.
All right, how about this? Yay! Okay. So for some of you that might not be sure what meal prepping is, basically just think about it. It's like prepping your lunch, but every day. So a lot of, especially parents, you're making lunches for your kids in the morning, maybe before going to school. So meal prepping is basically doing that same thing, but you're now prepping for 3 to 4 days. That's what I would suggest. You can plan for the whole week, but you want to prep about 3 days at a time. So you want to create grab and go meals. Do you do this?
Grab and go?
Grab and go meals?
Yes. No.
Sort of. Which brings us into what kind of planner are you?
Yeah.
How about I come over here? There. Now we're like, we don't have to sit on each other's lap. Okay. Okay. So it brings into what kind of planner are you? So there are people, and this might resonate with you, and if it is, I want a thumbs up, okay? Some people are super structured. They plan everything. They're super organized. You open their spice cabinet and all the labels are facing out. They know exactly how many kilometers it is to work and how long it takes to get there. They're very structured people. Now, these kind of people, when it comes to being in the kitchen, they tend to know what meals they're going to make. They plan and shop in advance. They use tools and apps. We have a meal planning tool on our website, lowfatlowcarb.com.
And I hope you guys have used it.
Yes, hopefully. If not, hopefully you'll try it after today. And so, yeah, so those are structured planners, we'll call them. Then there's the complete opposite, which is spontaneous people, right? So spontaneous, you might have a couple of friends like this, like you can never tie them down. You call them, they're never home, or they're out hiking a mountain, or they're like on the boat or something. They tend to just go with the flow, right? Variety is the spice of life, and that's the way they roll, and that's the way they roll in the kitchen as well. So those people tend to shop and then plan. So structured people plan and then shop, and spontaneous people shop and then plan. So they're apt to, let's say they're driving in the countryside and they see a market, they'll stop in the market and they'll buy whatever is fresh, and then they'll go home and make something fabulous. So maybe that resonates with you. Maybe you've had that. And I think Gab tends to be, because she's very creative and she has a lot of practice in the kitchen, so she tends to be a little bit more spontaneous.
Yes, because I like to create, right? I like to just try new things and just go shopping, buy whatever I like, and do something amazing. And most of the time I try it at home and then put it on the website for you.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing is, we were talking about this earlier, and even though you can be a spontaneous person, you still need to know when you're going to go and shop and when you're going to, like, what
about lazy people? We have a comment.
Oh,
what about lazy people?
You know what? You know what I love about lazy people? They're super efficient.
In which way?
They want to take the easy road, right? They want to do things fast and quick and no dishes and simple recipes and minimal spices. So That's a good start for meal planning. I used to joke all the time that I'm super lazy, but the word has a negative connotation, unfortunately. But I think that people that like to do things that are easy are very efficient and resourceful. So I'm going to give you, whoever said that, I can't see because
Melissa.
Melissa, I'm giving you a thumbs up.
No dishes.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's what I fall into, the category of the casual planner. So that's somebody who's like a nice blend of both. So again, if that's something that you tend to do, give us a shout out. Let us know. We want to be able to interact with you. That's why we're doing this live today. So go ahead and let us know which one you think you might be. Do you think you're more of a structured person and planner? Do you feel like you might be spontaneous? Or are you more casual? And so casual is somebody like myself that has a general idea of like 3 or 4 meals that they want to make, that they are going to make regularly. Maybe there's themes as well. So maybe you do Taco Tuesday or Meatless Mondays, and you have this idea of what your week is going to look like, but then there's still some room for flexibility and then room for leftovers or freezer meals. Okay. So I have, this week I'm casual, a bit of both. I'm into no dishes. I'm spontaneous and not very good at it. I like that comment. I'm not sure what it means, but I think it's funny. Okay. Okay, so we've gone through the different styles, and that's great. You need to know, knowing what kind of approach resonates with you is a really important part in planning your meals. Because if you're spontaneous and you like a lot of variety, then eating the same meal every day is not going to work for you, right? You're going to need to be able to have more flexibility and creativity and freedom in your plan, but you're still going to need to be successful and stress-free. You'll still need some guidelines and a bit of structure. But what if you've never planned? So if you've, maybe write down in the comments if you've planned before how it went, or if you've never planned at all and that's why you're here today, you want to know a little bit more about how to do that. My life requires structure, but I like to look for inspiration at the market. So enjoy spontaneous, especially in the summer. I like that.
We do that.
Yeah, eating with the seasons, and you know, farmers markets are delicious. And I think for many of you, becoming more spontaneous will come with practice. So once you use some recipes and you start to kind of shift them a little bit more to your lifestyle and to your taste, then you'll start to be able to be a little more creative and spontaneous in the kitchen. So if that's something that resonates with you, then just let us know. If you've never planned or prepped before, what can you do? So I think the first thing that you can do is find out how much time you have to spend. And if you signed up for a webinar in advance, you received a time log. It's basically just like a Monday to Sunday calculator, morning and evening, for you to start noticing where you spend your time. Because a lot of times people are like, I don't have time to spend 3 hours on Sunday prepping for my meals for the week. But here's a statistic, an interesting fact. The average adult, not teenager, because that statistic is alarming, but the average adult will spend 2 hours a day on social platforms. So that's on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter.
Yeah. I just want to stop you for a second because Kelly's saying, I've never been a planner in the kitchen. Well, this is the reason why we're doing this today, Kelly, is actually just to give you the guidance on to begin meal planning. So
yeah. And you know what, Kelly, I think that's a really good point because a lot of women and men, because I would love to see more men in the kitchen. And if we have some men online right now, please give us a shout out and welcome so much to spending time with us. But there's a lot of people that are very structured and plan in their business. And yet they don't carry those skills over into their home life. So maybe that's something that you're implying, Kelly, when you say that you're a planner, but not yet at home. So that's maybe a journaling piece for you where it's like, what is it in my structured life, in my work life, or wherever it is that you are a planner, what is it and how is it, can you take those skills and then bring them into meal prepping and meal planning and healthy living, right? Because that's the goal of meal planning and prepping is less stress, better health, period. Okay. Okay, so what can you do? So we said you need to find time. The average adult spends 2 hours a day on social platforms. That's 14 hours a week. Surely, if you're stressed last minute, getting into the kitchen, not knowing what to cook, this might be a place where you just remove some of the social distraction and you spend a little bit more time getting prepared and prioritizing yourself and your health, right? It only takes, Gab, how much time do you spend prepping?
Well, if you guys saw our Facebook Live last week, yeah. Oh my God, time flies last week. I mentioned that on Sundays I usually take the day to meal prep and just go do my errands, and then spend about maybe I'll say 3 hours in the kitchen to prep my week. It might seem overwhelming, but to be honest, I feel great. You know, I put some music on, you know, I don't know, it feels great. And then you wake up in the morning the next day and everything is there prepared in your fridge, and it just feels good.
Well, and that's what we always say, when you feel good, you do good. When you do good, you feel good, right? So it's so often we compromise ourselves and we put ourselves at the bottom of the list, and then we just don't feel that great. But when you do take the time to plan and prep, you know that you're giving back to yourself. Yes. Even though it's time, you're giving it back to yourself because you're going to be prepared for the week, eating healthy meals. Exactly. It feels good.
It feels good, but the time that you spend on that Sunday, to be honest, think about it. You're using that 3 hours. You're saving 3 hours throughout the whole week because you don't have to do it the night before. Yeah. So it may seem a lot, but really you're saving a lot.
And you're saving that time of, I don't know what to make.
What's for dinner?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have, I'm sure you've experienced this at some point where you're in the kitchen and you're like, I don't know what to make. You open the fridge, you close the fridge. You open the cupboard, you close the cupboard. You go online, you search some recipes. You open the fridge again. Like, that is precious time, right? So when you prep in advance, you're eliminating that as well. I wanted to say this because it reminded me of, as Gab was talking, I had a client who, her non-negotiable, so it's one of the things that we talk about when we're coaching people on healthy living is having these non-negotiables. And her non-negotiable was Sundays at 3 p.m., her and her husband were spending 3 hours in the kitchen preparing for the week. Yeah. And they would do that. They would put some music on, they drank some wine, and they sat down for half an hour, kind of discussed how they were going to do it, and then for that 3 hour time, they would cook together. And that was like a date night or date time where they spent together, and you know, it was connection.
You're right, Lynn. I find it's a therapy as well.
Mm-hmm.
To be in a kitchen, just you're in your groove. It's like a momentum. You're just cooking, and while you're at it, you're preparing not even your dinner, all your lunches, and the list goes on.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It is, and you know, we talk about nourishment, and nourishment is not just what you eat.
Yeah,
it's also creativity, and you know, cooking. Not just cooking is creative, but planning is actually creative. A lot of people think planning feels rigid and structured, but you need a lot of creative thinking to look ahead and how do you want to organize your life? How do you want to plan things? How do you want things to feel? That's all creativity, and it's part of feeling nourished. Okay, so I wanted to say, take a minute now. If you've never meal planned before, take a minute now. Maybe, hopefully you have some pen and paper, or if you have your phone close by, just open the notes. Write down, because I bet you know 2 or 3 meals that you can make today that are healthy. Right? I think everybody has at least 2 or 3 healthy meals in them.
Yeah, like some foundation.
Yeah.
Of things that they like to make.
So take a minute to write it down, and maybe this is your starting point. I'm going to wait and let you do that. In the meantime, I'm going to read some comments. Also, it's very easy to make bad choices when rushed and nothing planned. Yeah. So true. Yeah, so true. Hey, thanks for the thumbs up, guys. Okay. Moving on. So you wrote your 2 or 3 meals that you know right now off the top of your head you can make that are healthy. Maybe those are your go-tos. Maybe those are your non-negotiables that no matter what happens in the week, you'll have the ingredients needed to make those meals, because those are the easy ones. Those are the ones that you already know how to do. The other thing, if you've never started planning before, is start small, right? Don't go nuts and like plan 7 days and 7 different dinners. Start small. And this is what I mean. Make whatever you're making for dinner tonight or tomorrow, because I don't know where you are, what time zone you're in. Maybe you haven't had dinner yet, maybe you have. So whenever you're making your next big meal, make it even bigger, okay? So you're gonna make, let's say you're cooking up a stir fry. Rather than make 2 portions, make 4. And that way you have your lunches ready for the next day, or you have your dinner ready for the next day. So when I say start small, that's what I mean. Start by just expanding what you're currently cooking so that you have lunches ready. And what that will do is it will also start to get you accustomed to packing in advance, and then what your food will taste like the next day. I know that might sound silly for some of you, especially, yeah, the texture can change, right? So you'll start to know maybe the flavors change. Sometimes the longer the food will sit, the more flavorful it will become. And maybe that's something you love, and maybe it's something that you don't love. So by starting like this, you get to experiment with textures and which foods you actually like to reheat and eat the next day. For example, I love kale, and I love kale. I really do. My friends laugh because I'll go in the fridge and I'll actually just rip a piece of kale right off the stalk and eat it. And I'm like, ah. And I'm like, ah, I love it. But I love kale. And the beauty of kale is you can make a wonderful salad and it's good 2 or 3 days later. Whereas I am not someone who will eat romaine lettuce the next day. My boyfriend does. He doesn't mind. He'll have a salad with balsamic vinegar and oil and romaine lettuce, and then the next day I'll have it for lunch. And for me, that's a lot. I don't like it. Yeah, but you know, that's why I say for you guys, start to try this and see what it is that you like or don't like to eat the next day. Let's see. Also, so true, Cindy. Until I started using a meal planner, I would always make do with less than ideal foods. That's very true as well. Unless you're really exploring new recipes and expanding your repertoire, you know, the tendency is to just do what you know. And so that's a really great point, Alex. Okay. So we talked about that, leftovers, texture changes, and then, okay, so now you've gotten into it, you're into like packing for the next day. The next step would be to make 1 recipe meals. So we want to think of, when I say that, think of like chilies and soups and stir fries and stews in the slow cooker, things that will be just one recipe that will include everything that you need for that meal. So your proteins, your carbs, and your fat. That's the next step, because if you're starting to think of 3 recipe meals in the sense of a marinated chicken, let's say, and like garlic herb roasted potatoes and another, kale salad on the side, now you've got 3 recipes to prep. And if you're new to meal prepping, that might be a little bit too much. So we want to start with 1 recipe meals, just until you get the hang of it, and then you can add on. So this brings us into the idea of variable meals, and Gab is going to help me with this because she is so creative. Oh. I'm going to put her on the spot. And we talked a little bit about chili earlier, and we were saying, like, let's say you make this 1 recipe meal, and it's a big, you put it in the slow cooker, and it's a big, huge batch of chili.
I think everybody loves
chili. It could be vegetarian too. Some people, like I have clients that will eat the same meal every single day. Now I coach them not to do this because you need variety, because there's different nutrition, different nutrients. But let's say you do, you make the big batch of chili. You could eat it every day, just the chili, or you could make it into what I call a variable meal. So different ways of eating the same thing. Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. So what are some examples?
Well, we could do, first of all, when you create the chili, you will eat it alone. You can do that first.
You won't be alone when you eat it,
no,
but you will eat it by yourself. I'm just kidding. It is funny.
But so on LFL carb, we don't eat rice.
Yeah,
we don't create rice as a recipe. So we would suggest cauliflower rice that you will find in a lot of our recipes. Another way you can eat your chili would be as a taco salad.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Taco salad. So you could take your chili, you could either reheat it if you wanted, but you would put it in a small container. You would have some romaine already chopped from your prep the day before or a couple days before. And then when you get to work or wherever you are, you put your romaine lettuce, you would maybe warm up your, I don't mind eating things cold, but some people don't like that. So they would put their warm chili, and then what else could you add to it? Some plain Greek yogurt, maybe some shredded cheese or
chopped vegetables,
green onions on top. Yeah.
Another way to eat it would be as a burrito.
Burrito.
I always say differently. I guess it's my French. And use the collard green lettuce. So you just wrap it around. I find it so easy to do any type of lettuce wraps. I find that is one of the best. Also the Boston lettuce.
Yeah.
What else?
We have a comment here. I stuff peppers with it. That's a great idea. And those are really portable.
That's delicious.
Yeah, it's portable and easy to take with you as well. So that's a great choice. Different things you can do. If you eat, I said sloppy Joe, and Gab was like, "What's that?" So it's not for everybody. It's definitely not low fat, low carb. But it is something that you could do where you could put like a piece of bread or a hamburger bun or some kind of bread, and then you put your chili on top, like more like a sandwich kind of thing. So that's an option. You could turn it into a soup as well, and you could add a little bit more broth to it, make it more liquidy. So
there's so many ways.
Yeah. But just to get you into that idea of like when you make one dish, you can eat it many different ways. You just need to start to think. And you know what? Google is your best friend as well. So if you get stuck and you're like, oh my God, I have 3 more days of chili and I'm done with chili, then you could actually just go to Google and say, what to do with chili leftovers? And you'll get some great ideas, I'm sure. Another example, we often talk about batch cooking. So you have the variable meal, which would be like the chilies and the stews. And then we have a variable meal, which could be batch cooking of chicken. So let's say you go to the store and you love chicken. There's like, I read there's over 365 ways of making chicken.
Wow.
So you could have a
whole year.
Chicken every day different. Yeah. So if you're that kind of person, you're like, I love chicken. there are many different ways that you could cook it. So let's say you go home, you go to your store, you buy 10 chicken breasts, you come home, you cook them up. Then what do you do?
The option. Okay, well, first of all, the salad. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, you can slice it up. Just a natural chicken breast sliced up on this.
We have a really good one, and actually, guys, in the description for the webinar, you will have access. There's a link. Well, you have access to an ebook of everything that we're talking about, so you can download it afterwards. But in the ebook, we have the chicken salad with the squash.
Yeah, so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What else? Wraps again.
You could, salads and wraps are easy. You could shred the chicken up.
Oh, we have a good one like that too. Shredding the chicken, or just the oven, right? Yeah. We love one pans as well. That's a really easy one for everyone to do, especially if you have kids. Just put everything on the pan, put it in the oven, and man, 20, 30 minutes, it's done.
Yeah. I, especially in the wintertime, I roast almost all my veggies. It's so easy, and it's so great with the kids because I can chop up my broccoli and cauliflower and turnip and carrots and whatever it is that I'm roasting that day. And I put them on the parchment paper, put them in the oven, 10 minutes. Then I sit down and do homework. And then I get up, I flip them, I put them back in another 10 minutes, and then I sit down and do more homework. And we're all at the kitchen table, and it's so great. So roasting is definitely a good idea. You can do more taco salads with chicken. You can also shred it. You can make a kind of chicken salad with avocado and yeah, we love
breakfast as well, like omelets. You just add your meat in it.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good idea. And omelets, you could make a huge omelet and then have half for breakfast, and then the other half you could have maybe the next day in a salad or with a salad on the side, and have it more almost like a quiche, but not a quiche, you know? So thinking in those terms, again, making more than you need so you have leftovers is always good. If you made some cauliflower rice that we talked about with the chili, well, you make lots, and then you could do like a chicken fried rice kind of thing, right? So simple. You just put it in the pan with some chopped up chicken, your cauliflower, some vegetables. And if you don't have time, guys, frozen vegetables are okay, right? So we love fresh, of course, but the quality of frozen vegetables is really great. And, you know, you can buy some pre-chopped Chinese blend of vegetables and then put that in with a bit of soy sauce and ginger and garlic, and now you have a yummy chicken fried rice. Okay, so speaking of rice, different things you can do with rice is you can add them to salads. You could do a breakfast rice. So if it's actual traditional rice, you can eat it like oatmeal in the morning. Just warm it up with some coconut milk and some cinnamon and maybe a dash of maple syrup if you do that. Yeah, so you could do that. You could do fried rice. You could add your rice to soups and curries and stews. Like, there's so many different ways when you're doing batch cooking of changing it up so that you're enjoying and not always eating the same thing. What is your easy? Oh, that was you.
Asking people what are their go-to or their go-to recipes.
Yeah. Okay. So those were some examples. We're gonna hard-boiled eggs.
That's really good.
Yeah. And so like those, a lot of people have questions about snacks, which is again another whole topic that we won't get into, but when we're talking about meal prepping, you know, while you're doing your chopping, you could be boiling some hard-boiled eggs, boiling some eggs at the same time, because there's so much you could do. Eggs got a bad rap a few years ago because of the whole cholesterol thing. People are like, don't eat eggs if you're trying to not have high cholesterol. But eggs are a really great protein. They're a healthy fat. They're really great for your mental health. And they're easy snacks to have. And they're pretty balanced, fat and protein. About 7 grams of protein in the egg white and about 6 grams of fat in the egg yolk. So they're a good snack. What would you do with hard-boiled eggs, Gab?
Oh my God, I love eggs.
I love eggs too.
Actually, just a little
side note.
Yes, I know. This week, Patricia made me, last week again, God.
Yeah.
Made me taste those
Chinese
Oh
eggs.
my God, they were so good. They were marinated, but they actually tasted like ramen.
Yeah, they're Chinese.
Chinese. It was so good.
Marinated eggs.
Yeah.
Soft boiled eggs.
Yeah. So that's a way you can do it.
Maybe we'll put the link up for you guys.
Why not? It was so worth it. What else? Well, deviled eggs. We did the recipe like that. You can do a salad. Again, you can mix it with avocado. Just
like an egg salad
sandwich,
egg salad type thing with avocado and maybe some mayonnaise if you do that.
No, sandwich. That's a very popular one.
Yeah, egg salad sandwich, very popular. Or wrap. Yeah, or you could put the egg salad on a salad. That's another thing you could do. Mm-hmm. You could chop up your eggs in a salad. We did that just yesterday. We were like out of protein at my house, so what did we do? Hard-boiled eggs, and you know what? It was delicious. Deviled eggs, you could change it up. So you could have just the traditional deviled eggs. You can make them spicy, like Cajun style. We have a recipe online where it's with shrimp. I also saw another one. It looked delicious where it was the deviled egg, and then on top you put some smoked salmon. So rather than smoked salmon on a bagel, you know. This is good that the sun is setting because it's going to force us to finish when we said we were going to finish. Okay, so we talked about hard-boiled eggs. The point is, what do you need to do? Get
creative.
Yeah, just get creative. You know what? Try stuff. And if you don't succeed, that doesn't mean you suck at doing stuff in the kitchen. It just means that idea didn't work.
It's just not for you.
Yeah.
Or you can try again.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, and invite people over. You know what? I say that.
To do that too.
Yeah, I say that because odds are when people come over, you're planning the meal a little bit more. Maybe you're trying new recipes. So it's a really great opportunity for you to expand your repertoire. Okay, so foods. I'm going to read right off my list here. Foods that usually do well for meal prepping. What? Okay.
Nothing.
Foods that usually do well for meal prepping are cooked grains like rice, quinoa. These are things that you could do in advance. Pasta, if you eat it. You can make pasta salads with it. You can add it to soups. You can eat it with a vegetable sauce. Beans, cooked meat. These do well in for multiple days, especially if you marinate them. So if you get your chicken, you could cook part of it now, marinate it for a couple days, and then cook it a couple days later. It stretches the lifespan of your chicken. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Roasted vegetables do well. Whole fruits do well. Sauces do well. Foods that don't do well are softer fruits and vegetables like lettuce. We talked about that. Romaine lettuce. Berries don't do so well after you cut them and wash them. They don't do so well day 2 or day 3. Any cut fruit, in fact. And then some crunchy things that can get a little bit soggy depending on how you package them. Which brings us to our next topic, containers. Yay! So that's something when you're doing meal planning, meal prepping, that's going to be super helpful for you, is to have a lot of containers. So don't be worried, don't go out and spend all your budget on buying new stuff. Start small. Ziploc bags are great. I use them often. Even for salad dressings, I'll use them. And then you can buy Ziploc also makes plastic containers, which are nice because they're affordable. They're BPA free. They come in so many different sizes, and then you can reuse them, wash them. I don't recommend putting plastic in the microwave ever, but they do. They're see-through. We have some here to show you, like something like this. You know,
this is great for dressing, putting your nuts in, or even cut your eggs in half as a snack. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is something we were talking about earlier. And this goes along with the lazy comment that we also mentioned earlier. When you get yourself these. They're not that expensive, and they're really worthwhile because as you're prepping and planning or storing your leftovers, store them in the serving size because of 2 things. First of all, you'll eat according to what your serving size is because you'll already have it pre-portioned.
And you're more apt for that grab and go, right? So if I have, let's say I made a big dinner and I have a lot of leftovers and I know tomorrow I'm going to want to take it to work and I'm going to put some aside for my boyfriend to take to work, well, then I'm going to put it in 2 containers right away. I'm not going to put it in a 1 container and then the next morning have to separate it, because that's gonna just be more time and effort, and I might not want to do that the next morning.
Or just forget your lunch as well.
Yeah. But if right away you put it into the serving size and the container and it's ready to go, then it's just so much easier, right? Makes sense. And less dishes, right? Yes, which we like. So we have a couple other examples. So we have the more snack size. This would be good for nuts or cut up red peppers, or a dip. If you had some hummus or something, this would be where you could portion that out. This is really about portioning as opposed to the prepping. And then there's different containers, right? And you want to be able to see in them. And sometimes what I also do is I take a dry erase marker and I'll write right on it. And a lot of times they'll have a place where you can write on it what it is and the date that you packaged it up. Yeah? Yes. Do you have anything to add? No? Oh, you know what? She had something to add earlier about takeout containers.
Yeah, I do that often, actually.
Yeah.
I reuse, like, for example, the yogurt, like Greek yogurt. I like to reuse just to put, like, leftovers, or in the morning I like to take my yogurt and just mix my fruits. And I don't know, just reuse everything.
So
and take out takeout boxes.
Sometimes takeout containers are a nice sturdy plastic and you could use it again. I recommend once or twice because often the plastic that they use it degrades quickly, and so then it could leach toxicity into your food. So if you do use takeout containers and you reuse them, that's totally okay. Just don't keep them for years is basically what I'm saying. You use them once or twice and then recycle them. The Greek yogurt containers, like Gab was saying, I find are really beneficial for freezers. So if you did make a big stew or something and you wanted to portion some out for a freezer meal for next week or the week after, then you can put it in there. You don't mind using a Sharpie on it and writing what it is. And then once you use it, you can just discard it the next time. Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, and so you start with Ziploc containers like those because they're affordable. And then you set yourself up with a reward system. I like this. Where,
I like where you're going.
The money that you're saving from eating in and planning your meals, you then put towards getting some nice glass containers or some stainless steel containers. They're a little bit pricier, and yes, they're heavy if you're lugging them around. But they're also very convenient. They're basically toxin free. You can put them in the microwave. You can put them in the oven, and they're good for that. So you can't do that with plastic. So that's it. You're going to need a lot of containers, but start small, right? Ziploc bags work too. You can use those in the freezer as well. I put my veggies in them. I put my salad dressings. You said something about yogurt, and I did want to talk about that because as I mentioned, I used to do personal chef. I used to have a personal chef business, and so I would be prepping meals in advance. So let's say I'm making a nice salad niçoise, right? There's smoked salmon, there's chickpeas, there's a nice mustard dressing, there's tomatoes. So all of those things, and then romaine or romaine spinach mix, depending on what you want to do and what your health goals are. Again, I wouldn't put all of that in a container like this, because what's going to happen is everything's going to smell and taste like onion. Maybe because of the tomatoes, if they're not cherry tomatoes and they're chopped, everything's going to get soggy. So what you can do within the container itself is you can portion out in a Ziploc bag things that you know need to be separate and things that you know would get soggy. So if you're going to put nuts in your salad, then you want to put the nuts in a bag and then the bag in the salad and the salad dressing on the side. So you have everything prepared and it's still gonna taste fresh. Yeah? Yes. Anything to add there? I also boil a whole dozen eggs at a time and then peel as needed. I like that. With the hard-boiled eggs, we didn't really talk too much about it, but we do have a delicious recipe online about turmeric eggs. And turmeric is so beneficial to your health. It's anti-inflammatory. So go check it out. Sometimes what I do too is if I have dill pickles and I've done all my dill pickles, I keep the dill pickle juice and I put my hard-boiled eggs inside. And then I have pickled eggs, which are also very yummy.
I'll share the links, the link on.
Yeah, she's going to share the links. Okay, so how long does food stay good for? This is definitely a question that I get a lot, and I would say I always will say check. The FDA has some great guidelines online that you can go see. Generally, for me, my preference is 3 to 4 days max. I know people that will go 7 days and then eat their food. So part of it is what your preference and what your tolerance is as well. So I think 3 to 4 days, if you're planning ahead, is a good bet. Yeah, and then the other things you can do, you can put in the freezer and then pull them out when you need them. Yeah. All right, we're doing really well for time. It's 8:11. We said an hour, so we have about 10 more minutes, and then we'll take some more questions. Yummy, we'll definitely try the turmeric. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to go back. We talked a little bit about meal prepping and how many days at a time. Let's go back to the type of planner you are. If you remembered, if you were online the whole time, we went through the different planners: structured, spontaneous, and casual. So if you're a structured planner, you need to try our meal planning calendar online. So again, maybe Gab can share the link to the meal planner. It's lowfatlowcarb.com /meal planner. It's totally free. And what you can do is you just drag and drop your recipe right into the calendar. You decide what meal you want it, and then you can email yourself or print up a grocery list. So you'll have everything you need to make the recipes that you want for the week. Again, I always recommend that you don't pick 7 different dinners. That's a lot of prep. And I'm not saying don't do it. If you can do it and you love that and you love spending time in your kitchen, awesome. But I would suggest picking 3 to 4 meals and making twice the amount, and then you'll have multiple ways to eat them throughout the week. So it's a little bit less prep that way.
We do love Chef Arati as well. I'm happy that he's still talking about low carb and referring you guys to us.
So again, if you're a casual planner, you could still go and browse our recipes. We have over 400 different recipes online. So maybe you'll go and and they're all categorized, which is nice. So again, the casual planner is somebody who likes to pick themes. So maybe you'll say, you know what, on Monday nights, we're going to eat vegan. And so you go to our website, you select vegan, and you have a really vast selection of vegan recipes that you can then put into your plan. Or you pick Taco Tuesdays, like I said, or you have 3 or 4 recipes you know you're going to eat every week. Maybe it's a sort of a pasta dish or a stir-fry dish. You know, Mondays we do stir-fries, Tuesdays we do fish, Wednesdays we do tacos. And so you have some kind of structure, and then you can pick, again, some of our recipes that are low-fat, low-carb to keep you healthy and eating whole foods. And then there's the spontaneous planners. I would suggest if you're a spontaneous planner, you still need a little bit of structure. You need to know what day of the week you're going to go get this amazing fresh food, and then when you're going to spend the time in the kitchen to start thinking about what to do with that amazing fresh food. Yeah? Yes. Okay, so start and build slowly, 1 meal at a time. And just forgive yourself, too, if you go off your plan. That's totally cool. And there's nothing wrong with having breakfast for dinner. I'm just going to put it out there. It's okay to have eggs and spinach salad and Or maybe not spinach salad. Maybe it's like yogurt and fruit, and that's your dinner, and that's okay. Sometimes we have to do that, and that's what we're going to do. So give yourself a break, because that's still a balanced meal. If you're not sure where to go, if you haven't planned and you're not sure what to do and you get home, open the fridge first. Let the vegetable determine your meal. So rather than go to the cupboard first and look at your starches, look at your fresh vegetables that you need to eat anyways, otherwise they're going to go bad. So let the vegetable drive the dinner. And then maybe you could start thinking about when you're driving or in the morning when you're brushing your teeth or the night before, what am I going to have for dinner tomorrow? So that's just ways to start thinking about planning and thinking of working ahead and looking ahead at, that way you're not stressed last minute. And you're not hangry. I don't know if you guys get hangry, but I do. And if my boyfriend was next to me right now, he would attest to that as well. Because what happens when you're hangry, you're just making bad choices most of the time, or just eating whatever. Like I said before, I just grab a kale leaf and I stuff it in my mouth. At least that's healthy. But still, it's not a meal, right? So if you're part of our newsletter, if you receive our newsletter, you've received our 5 ways of making meal planning easier. If you don't receive our newsletter, please sign up. We give valuable content every week. We always have 5 ways of something. A couple weeks ago it was meal planning. We have 5 ways to boost vegan protein, 5 ways to boost mental health, 5 ways to have more water. So there's always little tips that you can take with you on a weekly basis. So join our newsletter. But I'm going to recap quickly what we talked about today and talk about these 5 ways of making meal planning easier. Before I do that, do we have any questions outstanding? We do Brinner once a week, breakfast for dinner. I love it. Pico de Gallo is great in eggs. Yes, I love that too. Salsa, homemade fresh salsa is delicious. In a muffin pan, you put your vegetables, you put your whole eggs and egg whites. And then if you eat cheese, you put a little bit of cheese on top and you bake them for 10 minutes. And then you have little egg muffins, like mini quiches that you can eat for breakfast, snack, lunch, whatever. They're great, grab and go. I eat them cold because I don't like to reheat in the microwave, which is a whole other topic. Okay.
We do want to say again that we are offering you a really nice little gift. It's the ebook in the description of this video. And I actually sent you the link right now. So you have it for later. You can save it for later and just download it. So I hope you guys like it. It's a recap of everything that we're talking about today.
She is the creative, magnificent person.
You are too kind.
Yeah, she makes beautiful. I write it. She makes it beautiful. We're a great team.
Oh, we are.
Okay, so oh yes, and I wanted to say, if you didn't sign up for the webinar, the recipes. If you didn't sign up for the webinar and you just happened to come because we're live, which is awesome. We're so grateful that you're here. You can still go to the webinar page and sign up, because what you'll get is the 4 emails that we're going to prepare you for the webinar. So go ahead and go there if you're interested in getting that information. Okay.
Also, if you are not a member, or if you, like you said, it's your first time and you've never heard about us, I just sent you the link on the chat for you to know who we are, what's our philosophy, and what's our goal with Low Fat Low Carb. So feel free to read it. And we have a nice video of Patricia, and so many good things, guys.
Yeah, we're always working super hard at Low Fat Low Carb to educate you on what does your body good. We also, we're trying to create fun content. We make quizzes. We have, in some of our communities, we have different polls that we do sometimes. And we really honor that you are all unique and you all have your own journey through healthy living. And so we want to help you in whatever way we can. And we're constantly changing and adding value to our site and to our content. So we love your feedback. Please. And if you haven't, I'm totally plugging this now. It wasn't my intention, but we also do on Thursdays Inspired Nourishment, which is a question of the week. So if you do have some questions, you can send them to us.
So we have Kelly asking that her husband is really picky and he's not a huge veggie eater. But he loves his carb. So what would you suggest?
I love this because a lot of men, I'm sorry, but I'm going to do a little bit of a blanket statement, but a lot of men are meat and potatoes kind of guys. And so I totally understand what you're saying, Kelly. And don't forget that vegetables are carbs as well. So what would you do if you had a really picky eater? I have a picky eater. My daughter is a very picky eater. And so what I do is I do flexible meals. So I've talked a lot about tacos during our stream today because they're easy for me and my family because everybody can put whatever they want on it. It's a little bit more prep for me because I have to think of all the different options. But then once it's on the table, everybody builds their own meal. So that's a super way to be able to not make different meals for everybody and to have the healthy options in front of them. So maybe they'll try them. So maybe you could do a deal with your husband where you're like, we're going to have tacos and you need to add one new ingredient every week to your taco and make it a challenge. And maybe you can negotiate something that he'd like you to try in return. Like maybe he loves to go golfing and you'll go golfing with him. You'll go
reward system.
Yeah, or something. So what else could you do for people that love carbs? You know, cauliflower is a really I want to say variable, but no, you can use it in so many different ways. So a lot of times you can add cauliflower. You can make mashed cauliflower. And so for yourself, if you're trying to be more low carb and you don't want to eat white potatoes, you can make mashed potatoes and cauliflower and you could mix them together. And a lot of times people don't notice that there's cauliflower in the mashed potatoes. Anyways, but we can continue with that afterwards because that's a little bit more of a personal question, Kelly, so we can go ahead and do that. But I would say make variable meals. So if you're making a pasta dish or a rice dish, you can have different options of what people can add to the dish to make it their own. Salads are great for that too. Okay, so a quick recap on the 5 ways of making meal planning easier. 1, cook in large batches. We talked about that already. I'm talking a lot. You want to do the recap?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, she says. Okay, so cook in large batches, soup, stews, 1 recipe meals. If you're cooking chicken, lots of chicken. You know, what else? If you're cooking salmon, lots of salmon. Trout is a nice alternative to salmon if you can't find fresh salmon or it's not in your budget. Okay. Create a standard grocery list. So this I really like. Have a standard, like a default list, which, by the way, you can do on our website. You can, when you choose your recipes and you select print a grocery list, you can add your default items. So that way you only have 1 list, which I think is a super valuable tool. But have a standard grocery list. Yes.
Alex just mentioned that he just scheduled his next week.
Yay!
With our website.
While he was watching this.
Wow.
I'm glad we inspired you to do that. Let us know how it goes. Okay, so a standard grocery list that you have, but also your partner has, and maybe if you have older teenagers, they have on their phone with them at all times. So when you need groceries, you're not stuck doing it. Everybody in the family has access to the same list, and you always have the ingredients that you need, your default ingredients for your default meals on hand at all times. And that way everybody can be responsible for grocery shopping. Copy paste multiple meals. So we talked about this a little bit. So you're making, you know, whatever you make for dinner, plan it for lunch the next day and maybe dinner 3 days from now so that you're not having to be always cooking and prepping. So you want to make meals that are variable, that you can change up just a little bit and eat multiple times in the week. Display your schedule. So I really like this one. This holds everybody accountable. And you won't have those nasty, what's for dinner questions. What are we eating today? Like my kids do. Mom, what are we eating? I'm like, well, it's right there. Let's go have a look. That's what we're eating. And if you're hungry, help yourself. Yeah, I love it. I kind of love it. But I know some of you might have younger children and that doesn't work for you. But you can get them involved. So have your schedule posted so your family knows what you're eating. And if they're super hungry, hey, go ahead. You know where the kitchen is. You know what we're eating today. Go ahead. Feel free to get started. Right? Right. But we talked about family time and we talked about including your kids, because if your kids are included, they're more apt to eat what you make. So I'm going to quickly go through some of the tasks. My kids love to set the table. They love to measure ingredients. They love to stir and chop. They love, some of them love creating their own recipes. So they'll go and they'll search and they'll make sure. My son loves making dessert, probably because I don't make dessert. But he'll go and search out recipes and get the ingredients and make it all himself. So, and he's 10. So you can, depending on your child, you can definitely have different tasks for them. Preschoolers can pick out vegetables and fruits at the store. They can wash fruits and vegetables. They can stir things. They can put plates on the table. So you can get them to help you and get involved in the kitchen. One of the things I love to say is kids learn what they live, right? So get them involved. You're setting them up for life, not just for your week. Okay, school-age kids can do what we just mentioned. They can also crack eggs. My kids love it. It makes a mess, but you know what? They're involved, so I don't mind. They can measure ingredients. They're great at helping with whatever they can also suggest meal ideas.
Thank you, Lynn. She has to go, but thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for staying. I'm almost done for those of you that are still online. Teenagers can plan meals. They can also go grocery shopping. My kids will hop on their bikes and they'll take a list and go shopping. So, I mean, it's possible. You just have to get used to that kind of new rhythm. And then finally, one of the best ways is don't start from scratch, right? If when you get home from work, it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, and you have to start from scratch, it can be discouraging. And it just takes that much more time in the kitchen. So if you can chop some things in advance, great. If you forgot, no problem. Maybe in the morning when you're waiting for your coffee to brew, you can take out the spices. You can kind of prep your cutting board and the bowls that you might need. Like there's always ways of preparing something so that you're not starting from scratch at the end of the day. Of course, I mentioned I'm a casual planner. I know that I have on occasion taken the time, not on occasion, regularly, but I do sit down and I take half an hour to plan my meals, and it's really such less stress for me, because sometimes I'll get up in the morning and I'll be trying to pack my lunch or my kids' lunch, and I'm like, what am I eating today? And then I just look at my calendar and it's like, oh yeah, I have everything ready. So it's definitely helpful. So if you haven't already, check out our website, check out our tools that we offer, start using them. If you have feedback or suggestions, let us know. If you have questions, let us know. You can leave comments below. You can email us questions at lowfatlowcarb.com. Thank you so much, Cindy, for staying with us. Thank you, everybody, for switching over to this live stream. We apologize again for what happened at the beginning, but we're so grateful to have had a chance to connect with you. And we hope you found value. Feel free to share this with your community, share this with your network. Let us know if there's one takeaway that you're going to use in your life next week, tomorrow, and how everything goes. We'd love to know if you've implemented some of these
and let us know if you have any questions right now. We can take a good 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes to answer your questions, and then
we'll be done.
We'll be done for today.
So thank you for staying. If you have to go, thank you. And if you want to stay and ask some more personal questions, we're here. So we'll stay online it's 8:29. We'll stay online for another 5 minutes. And just feel free to write your comments in the chat box there.
And make sure you download your free ebook, guys.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, I'm Patricia. This is Gabriel. And thanks for joining us. Yep. Till next time, Maria.
Flexible, yeah.
Yeah. We do. We like flexibility. It's important to us, and it's realistic. It's real. It's real. It's life, right? We have to be able to be flexible for sure.
Next time we'll plan our videos accordingly.
We were planned, and we did set it up in advance. Oh. And it's just when we hit go live, it didn't go live. Then what do you do? Oh my God! We called the dot connector. If you've been on our website, you know that there is a missing member of our team.
That should be right here.
He should be right here, and his name is Alex, and he is the dot connector, and he speaks English, which is why I say it like that. So we called the dot connector, and we said, "Hello, what do we do?" Then we had to download stuff and and all that. Okay,
we have no questions coming in, guys. So, yes, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so we will wait. We'll wait. We don't mind. We can chit chat for those of you that are still on. There's 14 of you still here. Maybe you have something to say. You're just waiting. Waiting. I think we're hungry. We've been in the kitchen for an hour and 15 minutes now. Are you hungry? We've had water, though. Plan your water intake.
Oh, yes. That's another good one.
Yeah. Drink more water. Actually, did you know that most of us are dehydrated? And our body will signal us because we're thirsty, but our brain translates it to hunger. So we go and eat when really we should be drinking water. So have more water. Set a timer on your phone. I'm giving you more tips and tricks.
I think there's an app called My Plant water intake app.
There's one called Waterlogged, which I like. Waterlogged, because they're logging your water. Great webinar. Thanks, Erin. We were happy to be with you. Have a wonderful evening. We're going to wait one more minute. I said 4, but I'm shutting it down at 2 or 3 because I feel like we're losing people. So, and there's so many ways to reach us and connect with us. So if you do have questions, or you're watching this again later, or you're sharing with somebody who may have questions, you can reach out to us in so many different places. On our Facebook page, we're constantly answering comments there. Here, you can put some comments, you can email us, you can join our community. We have a wonderful community forum where you can ask questions and get to speak with me directly. I'm just talking, I'm just filling space. Okay, we're gonna sign off. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, our apologies for the beginning of the webinar and starting a little bit late. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. We hope to do these regularly. And otherwise, Inspired Nourishment Thursdays at 1. Bye.
Bye.
Are you sure you want to end?